Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 44, Compassionate Response. So today we're moving on to the section in the puja, which is Transference of Merit and Self-Surrender. So basically we've been looking at ritual and devotion for about 9 days now, and each of the sections in the puja, or the devotional ceremony that we use in Triratna, has got a particular mood to it. So yesterday we looked at the Heart Sutra. We looked at in a way that when we do the Heart Sutra in the puja, it's like it's the point at which we're kind of, in a way, we're kind of playing at being kind of at possessing wisdom and what that might mean. And then from there, the next thing that we do is that we go out into the world and we share it. We share. We become a bodhisattva. We become like this guy here. This is detail of Avalokitesvara. So he's got 11 heads. And 1,000 arms, and each of the arms has got an eye in the hand, and it's like each hand is representing generosity. So he's giving what's appropriate. That's why the eye is in the hand. So this is a Buddhist symbol, archetypal bodhisattva, associated with compassion. So sometimes the Dalai Lama is seen as an embodiment of Avalokitesvara. So he's got 11 heads looking in all directions, and he's got 1,000 arms. So we'll be looking at the spirit of altruism. What happened. What the Buddhist is trying to do in terms of their outlook. What's the ideal Buddhist? So sometimes the Bodhisattva is seen as the ideal Buddhist, who's out to help the world as much as possible. But actually, I did a retreat, a little online retreat with Kamala Sheila, who's my preceptor, the guy that ordained me, a week or so, two weeks ago. And one of the things he said, it was on Avalokitesvara, it was on the four-armed form of Avalokitesvara, and he said that this activity comes from an intense feeling of calm. So it's not a kind of frantic activity, it's coming really from a real kind of deep place of calm. And so the figures in Buddhism are often, so the Buddha said he needed to look up to something, and what he looked up to was the Dharma, was his teaching, the truth about how things are. And Avalokitesvara has got this kind of praying kind of hand gesture, and what he's looking up to is the red Buddha, Amitabha, which is his kind of like, in a way, spiritual kind of father figure. So he's praying for help from Amitabha to then be able to channel that and help all sentient beings. So it's interesting that even enlightened figures have devotion, and I think you see that in just generally, the more advanced a Buddhist is, maybe, the more devotional they are, the more they're looking to, they get up early, they meditate, they get their head in the right way around, by kind of sorting out their inspiration. Dada Rinpoche used to get up at 4:30 and do all sorts of practices, and particularly he said to get his motivation sorted out, towards helping all sentient beings, and then he would run a school all day for Tibetan children. So yeah, so it's about, we need to kind of meditate and get our heads the right way up. So today, yeah, we're looking at altruism, and the bodhisattvas, the spirit of the bodhisattva. And so we're going to look at the last section in the puja, the transference of merit and self-surrender, but also look at the equivalent, where that's come from in the Bodhicaryavatara, written by Shantideva, which is a much longer verse. The puja section has been taken from, so we're doing that today, and then tomorrow is we're going to do the last morning on ritual and devotion. So tomorrow morning I'm going to look into just the overall way of like looking at poetry, something I call poetic logic. So it's a bit like poetry has its own logic, symbolism has its own logic, ritual has its own logic, So I'll be looking at that. Things like superstition, how superstition fits in with ritual, how aesthetics fits in with ritual, how faith in a story, believing a story, even though we know it's kind of just a story, whether we believe it or not is important. Whether we believe in Santa Claus or something, it has an effect, or whether we believe it or not, and also whether we take things literally or whether we take them poetically. So poetry is supposed to be taken poetically, not literally. So things like that. Just looking at the general overall landscape of ritual, devotion, poetry, all that sort of field, imagination, really. So that's tomorrow, and so tomorrow I thought I'd do a session for 45 minutes on here, live, Facebook Live, and then after that I'll send out the link. I'll put the link on the Facebook Live, on the Facebook page, and after that we'll actually do a puja on Zoom together, at 8:15 onwards for like 45 minutes. So, and we'll do the 7-4 puja, and that'll be the end of the ritual and devotion series. And I thought that after that, day 46, I'd like to move on to satisfy my intellectual side a bit more. So I thought I'd do a series on Buddhist metaphysics, on the kind of the things like, I'm starting off with the middle way. So the Buddhism's often talked about as the middle way between eternalism and nihilism. So we could start looking at that, and I'm hoping to bring in some other people as well into that, other people's ideas and stuff. So I thought that'd be interesting. It'd be a bit of a change. So we'll have done about, I think, 10 days on ritual. So by then, that's the plan. It's been good actually checking in, doing the puja at lunchtime in the UK here, 12:30. I think there was 7 of us yesterday, something like that, or 7 or 8, and just hearing people's stories, and what we've been doing is just checking in for 15 minutes, and then just doing a 3-4 puja for 10 minutes or something, and then a little bit of meditation at the end. Kind of just hearing sort of some of the sad stories, really, that people not able to attend funerals and stuff like that. It's kind of, I think it's really good for us to be able to just hear what's happening for other people, and it makes our own it brings us out of isolation. It makes our own concerns, kind of for ourselves, but it sort of puts them in perspective. And just and when we get to sort of say things. So yesterday I've not been out all that much for quite about a week, and I did manage to get to the park. It's a beautiful park in Didsbury, Manchester. It's a fantastic botanical garden there, and also they've made it really natural. It's just like natural pathways through woodland and things, really beautifully done. So I was just there and took some photographs, and then I went to the supermarket and had a little picnic in the car park, just enjoyed the sunshine, and then subscribed to Netflix, which is quite cheap in a way. So I watched a bit of Star Trek last night, and it all just feeds you, doesn't it? You've got to look after the different parts of yourself, So so it's not all about monastic training or whatever. What else? I've been making a bit more effort with trying to get other people interested in these videos on YouTube, and made a bit of effort to sort of catch up with the descriptions on YouTube. And I was watching one of my earlier where I was doing practical aspects of isolation and talking about the Meghiya Sutta, and I was really pleased with it. Actually, I was really pleased with what it put across, and it was a good reminder for me, to think, I need to. It's important to be in contact with people and to allow yourself to be helped by others, and so generally speaking, I'm feeling quite happy with how all this is going, and I'll talk a bit today about how this came about and some of the background to doing these sessions, and it kind of relates a little bit to the theme today. So Chloe's saying, I was thinking we could do with a social on Zoom for all who attend this practice with you. Yeah, that's it's a possibility. Yeah, it takes me a while to get my head around, to things to land with me. Sometimes I'm a bit slow thinker, but it'd be good to just do the social thing a bit. Yeah. I think I've got resistance to doing the body work really this morning. Anyway, moving on. Let's do some body work. So just swinging your arms to side. And just enjoying the twist of the upper part of your spine in relation to the lower part of your spine. Try to have a sense of your spine being vertical. And just rotating your hips. So forwards and to the side and to the back, just make it deliberate, body and mind together in the same place. And then just put one arm over the top and push the other one down. So just pushing down on one side and stretching up on the other side, just little movements backwards and forwards. And then just pushing it on like that to one side. It's like deliberate kind of movement, like this. And just twisting, stretching. And then the other way around. So just twisting and stretching. A sense of pushing with the palm of your hand. And shake everything out. I think I'm not in the mood really for exercise this morning. Anyway, so let's do some meditation. So just getting used to sitting in meditation posture. So if you've not been here before, you might sit on a chair if you want to, or sit on meditation cushions on the floor. Whatever you're sitting on needs to be relatively firm, so not like settee cushions, they just disappear when you sit on them. And just allow your mind to quieten down. And maybe contacting some of the themes that we've had this week. Imagination and bowing and confession and successful practice, being happy through practicing ethics and meditation and wisdom, in treating a teacher, the Heart Sutra yesterday. Just having a sense that maybe there's a blue sky here behind me. The blue sky representing the law of conditionality, that things appear when the conditions are there, that are right, and they disappear back into the blue sky when the conditions aren't there, like a cloud appears in the sky when it's there's enough moisture and it's the right temperature and that sort of thing. So it's like that with everything. Everything arises in dependence on conditions. Also, yesterday I was talking about the Heart Sutra kind of pulls the rug out from underneath us. So it's like saying, here's the teaching, but then in a way you need to be taking your stand in emptiness. Are you really able to do it under all circumstances? So we're going to do the Metta Bhavana meditation, loving kindness meditation. So having a sense of being able to do that under all circumstances, what that might mean. So it's not like we only practice loving kindness when we're feeling relaxed or all right. Sometimes I kind of practice this in different ways, and one way is I call it the red practice. So red is a sort of symbol of love and the heart, and warm emotion. So sometimes you can just imagine a kind of red glow enveloping yourself and enveloping others. So we'll practice like that today. We'll do the red practice. So just allow your body to support your mind and emotions to be in whatever state that they're in. And checking in with yourself, how you feel at the moment. Is there any tension in your experience? And if there is, can you just kind of breathe into that tension, breathe through it, loosen it up with your breath. And just allowing your skeleton to support your weight so that your muscles can relax, feel confident that they can relax and let go. Relaxation is a physical thing, it's like unfurling a fist. So softening and relaxing in the muscles of the body. And then just connecting with yourself, sitting here. And imagining just a red glow just enveloping you. Representing love or kindness towards yourself. May you be well. May you be happy, may you be free from suffering. if other emotions are there that are going in another direction to that, don't give them any attention or don't feed them. Just keep coming back to this sort of red glow of warmth towards yourself. May be well. So coming from, as I said, with Avalokitesvara, just coming from a very quiet place, peaceful place. tuning out from focusing on ourselves, and now just bringing to mind a friend, somebody who's a good friend. And imagine opening our heart to them, enveloping them in this red light, beautiful, warm red light. May they be well. in the third stage, just allowing the sense of your friend to fade and bringing to mind a neutral person, somebody that maybe works in the shop or drives the bus, whatever. They're just neutral. And enveloping them in this kind of warm red light. May they be well. Now allowing the sense of the neutral person to fade and bringing to mind somebody that we find difficult. And trying to envelop them in this kind of warm red light, warm red glow. May they be well. So maybe letting the difficulty be there as well as the person, all enveloped by the warm red glow. Just letting the red light soften the pain that's there with the difficult person when we bring them to mind. May they be well. So if ill will comes in, don't give it any attention, just keep coming back to sense of kindness towards the difficult person. May they be well. So maybe stretching ourselves beyond our normal way of responding, having a bigger response to the difficult person than just aversion. So in the fourth stage, bringing back the other three people into the meditation. So you've got the four people that you've used, and imagine enveloping all of the four people in this red light, this warm red glow that symbolises our heart opening up to, warming up to them as people, as beings, as centres of experience. May they be well. It's coming from a quiet place, calm place. And then allowing the light to move outwards into the world, the glow to move outwards into the world, including more and more people. And as it does so, imagine that we're wishing them well as well. Wanting the best for them. Moving further and further out, including people in the town or the city that you live in, or the countryside around you, and then the country that you live in, and including people of different age groups and different genders, different economic groups, different political persuasions. So imagine wishing them all well. Just hoping that they get to happiness, the happiness that they're all seeking. They're all seeking. Including in our imagination, other classes of beings. So in the Buddhist tradition, they talk about beings in hell realms, God realms, animal realms, states of addiction, so hungry ghosts. So wishing all of them well. And urging them all towards well-being, towards fulfillment, towards happiness. Last night my teacher taught me the lesson of poverty. Having nothing and wanting nothing. I am a naked man standing inside a mine of rubies. Clothed in red silk. I absorb the shining, and now I see the ocean. Billions of simultaneous motions moving in me. A circle of lovely, quiet people becomes the ring on my finger. Then wind, and the thunder of rain on the way. I have such a teacher. So now just beginning to relax your effort in the meditation, being aware of your body, your sensations in your body, being aware of the world outside. And gradually bringing your meditation to a close. Okay, so I hope you got somewhere with that. I find it just quite simple actually, that the red practice, just the colour red, just symbolising something, symbolising warmth of emotion, and sometimes we just need to get out of our heads and just get into our heart area, into our aesthetic sense, and come from there really. So at the beginning of the session I talked about Avalokitesvara here, the Bodhisattva of Compassion, and so in the puja, we go through all the different sections, and then we do the Heart Sutra, and then the 7th section is called Transference of Merit and Self-Surrender. And it goes like this: May the merit gained in my acting thus go to the alleviation of the suffering of all beings. My personality throughout my existences, my possessions, and my merit in all 3 ways I give up without regard to myself, for the benefit of all beings, just as the earth and other elements are serviceable in many ways to the infinite number of beings inhabiting limitless space. So may I become that which maintains all beings, situated throughout space, so long as all have not attained to peace. So in the Bodhicaryavatara, which the puja is based on, this section is called dedication. And so this is what the Bodhisattva does. They dedicate their lives to helping all sentient beings, move out of suffering and move towards nirvana. And at the end of the section, I'll read the longer longer section that this comes from in the Bodhicaryavatara, just to give you a sense of the full kind of beauty of the poetry, really. But before doing that, I thought it'd be nice to just talk a little bit about the Bodhisattvas, what the Bodhisattva path is like, so the Bodhisattva attains what are called the 10 bhumis. So these are the 10 bhumis here. Oh yeah, one of my diagrams. So these are like the levels that the Bodhisattva can attains. Okay, and they have really evocative titles. So the first bhumi, the first level, is called Pramudita, or the joyful. And then we have Vimla, the immaculate, Prabhakari, the illuminating, Archismati, the blazing. So these indicate something about the state of the Bodhisattva. It's not like the kind of I remember the friend Amogavangsa saying, talking about people burning out, people are burning out with stress, doing too much, and he says, I'm not going to burn out. I'm going for incandescence. So it's like, so it's like, we don't worry about our own stress. We just go, yeah, let's do it. Let's make something happen here. The blazing, and then after that comes Sudurjaya, which is very difficult to conquer. So again, you've got this sense I talked about earlier about the Bodhisattva has the he talks about having armour. In Gampopa's Dual Ornament of Liberation, he says, a bodhisattva puts on armour in order to gather all beings around him. Since beings are infinite, so is his armour. So Sangharakshita in the Bodhisattva Ideal book, he says the Bodhisattva's armour is motivation, and the idea that he gathers all beings around him suggests that he or she is at the centre of a mandala, gathering people around him in what Buddhists call a sangha, a spiritual community. In this way, one can think of the spiritual community as a mandala with the Buddha or the Bodhisattva at the centre. So the Bodhisattva has a harmonious, creative effect. Here is this mass of human beings all fighting and quarrelling, trying to subdue one another, trying to amass wealth. The Bodhisattva comes along among them and gradually transforms the chaos into a cosmos, the confusion into a beautiful mandala, society into the spiritual community. It is as though as soon as one decides that one is aiming to gain enlightenment for the benefit of others, a sort of vibration is set up, and the people in one's immediate environment form a kind of mandala around one. So, in a way, I've got a bit of a mandala around me doing these sessions, and one of the ways in which this came about was last year. I go to Buddhafield Festival every year, and there's maybe about 500 people who are kind of on the team, or various teams, or working in cafes, or running meditation sessions, or yoga, or whatever it is, for about 4,000 people altogether. And I had been doing what's called Dharma input, so like helping people in teams to connect with the theme of the festival. And sometimes I was well used, and other times I wasn't so well used in that. But last year I was so well used. I mean, I ended up going supporting 4 different teams: all the stewards, the ticket office, the peacekeepers who go around settling quarrels and disputes, and what's the other one? There's another one. Yeah, I can't remember. Production office, that was it. And I ended up doing in the middle of the festival, I was doing 9 sessions a day. So I'd do 15 minutes here, then I'd go somewhere else, do 15 minutes, and then 15 minutes with this group, 15. And it's fantastic doing that. Just trying to manage, try to be of use and be of help, and connect people with the meaning of the festival and give them some support and all that sort of thing. So I think that came out of me being involved in an accountability group where I'm trying to be more visible and try to be more out there in general in my work and everything. So it came out of some sort of getting somewhere with that, I think, and I started to think, oh yeah, I need to get out there more. And then when the virus came along, I thought, well, I need to be doing something. So I kind of activated my inner bodhisattva, and just thought just start doing it. So today's day 44. So on the coming back to the bhumis, you've then got, after very difficult to conquer, you've got the face-to-face, abhimukhi, meaning the face-to-face with reality. So I talked before actually a couple of days ago about the path of seeing, in the five paths, as being face-to-face with reality, being able to take reality in. So the path of seeing, but then, so in Theravada Buddhism, you've got the idea of the arahant. So the arahant is the enlightened being who, in a way, their kind of focus is on their own nirvana, but the bodhisattva ideal is trying to get everybody to nirvana. So in a way, the arahant is about at this level, and then beyond this, you've got Durangama, the far-going, Achala, the immovable, Sadhumati, good thoughts, and Dharmamega, the cloud of the doctrine. And it's said that the bodhisattva at each of these levels is practicing something. So at the lowest level, they're practicing dana or generosity, and then morality or loving speech. These are the morality is the perfection of morality. Loving speech is the means of unification, the way that a sangha is brought together. So by kind speech, right? And then the next one is patience, the practice of patience. These are the bodhisattva paramitas. Patience, or in terms of the means of unification that bring a sangha together, doing good, artacharya. And then the next level is vigour, and exemplification, samanata, is the means of unification. So they really exemplify what they're talking about, what they're teaching. And then meditation is the perfection, and then at that level, all four means of unification are brought together. And then you've got wisdom, which is the perfection of wisdom, which is at the same level as the arahant. So maybe this is where the arahant gets to. But that beyond wisdom, you've got them cultivating skillful means. So skillful means is like so the bodhisattva. It talks about in the Sutra of Golden Light about the bodhisattva learning languages. So they learn languages in order to communicate the Dharma to people. They learn how to speak well. They learn how to, in a way, they learn the language that people speak in. Including the culture. They learn the culture. They learn everything that's needed to pass the Dharma to those people. So it's like they don't just stay in their own realm in a way. They move out into the world of other people and teach in the most effective way. So being friendly, being approachable, all those sorts of things are all part of what the Bodhisattva does. And think of the Dalai Lama, what he's like, you know, how approachable he is, and he's engaging with the society. You know, he's engaging with science, and you know, set up the Mind and Life Institute to help kind of sort of see how Buddhism and science, or Buddhism and Western philosophy, can kind of be brought together. How be brought into dialogue, that sort of thing. And then you've got the perfection of vows. So the Bodhisattva makes a vow to help all beings attain enlightenment. And so Avalokitesvara made a vow that he was going to help all beings. And he said, if at some point I stop and think about myself, this was before he had the 1,000 arms and 11 heads. He says, if I stop and think about myself, may I shatter into 1,000 pieces. And so he worked for aeons trying to help beings, and then at a certain point, he just, for a minute, he just thought of himself, and then he shattered into 1,000 pieces, and then Amitabha, his spiritual father, the Buddha of Compassion, put him back together again like Humpty Dumpty into this form that's more effective in bringing help to beings. And then you've got beyond vows, the perfection of vows. You've got strength. So this often comes in the idea of strength. It's there in the arm, the sense of armor. The Bodhisattva has this kind of robustness about them. And then finally, you've got the perfection of knowledge. And I think this cloud of the doctrine. In the White Lotus Sutra, you've got the parable of the rain cloud. So the Buddha is like the rain cloud, in the sense that the rain falls on everybody without preference. So, and nourishes everybody. Nourishes all the plants on the earth when the rain falls. So I really like this cloud of the Dharma, because it's like it's an image which is like a cloud is something that's quite diffuse, isn't it? So maybe it's a mystery how the Dharma how the doctrine is transmitted at that level. It's more a kind of it's more a diffusion of something. So apparently people are having problems with the video, so I hope that you can watch this later on. So I've talked today about the Bodhisattva and the Transference of merit and self-surrender. We've done a Metta Bhavana in the sense of the red practice. You're just imagining red light, red glow enveloping beings. I've talked about the 10 bhumis and about my own experience of sort of trying to be effective as a Buddhist at Buddha Field Festival. And I've said that, like, tomorrow we're going to look generally at some poetic logic, and then for 45 minutes, and then we're going to do a puja on Zoom, which I'll send the link out to, and then after that the next series is going to be on Buddhist metaphysics, the middle way. So I'm going to finish with just reading the part of the Bodhicaryavatara which the puja comes from, which is the transference of merit and self-surrender. And it's quite long, but we've still got plenty of time. So maybe if you want to just get into your meditation posture, or just sit in an armchair and just listen, and just take it in, take in the sentiments. Embracing the bodhicitta. I rejoice with delight in the good done by all beings, through which they obtain rest. With the end of suffering, may those who have suffered be happy. I rejoice in the nature of the Bodhisattva and the Buddha who are protectors. I rejoice in the arising of the bodhicitta and the teaching, those oceans that bring happiness to all beings. May the merit gained in my acting thus go to the alleviation of the suffering of all beings. May I be medicine for the sick. May I be their doctor and their nurse until sickness is no more. May I destroy the torments of hunger and thirst with rains of food and drink. May I become an inexhaustible treasure for those who are poor and destitute. May I be their servant to give them all that they need. My personality throughout my existences, my possessions, and my merit in all three ways, I give up without regard to myself, for the benefit of all beings. Nirvana is the giving up of all, and it is nirvana my heart yearns for. If I am to give up everything, then let me give it to beings. I would be a protector for those without protection, a guide for those who wander, a boat, a bridge, a causeway for those who long for the other shore. Just as the earth and other elements are serviceable in many ways to the infinite number of beings inhabiting limitless space, so may I become that which maintains all beings, situated throughout space, so long as all have not attained to peace. As the Buddhas of ancient times embraced this Bodhi heart and followed resolutely the practice of the Bodhisattva path, so shall I awaken this precious heart for the welfare of the world, and I too shall follow that path in all its fullness. Today my birth has borne fruit, and my humanity has been fulfilled. Today I am reborn in the Buddha family, and I am now son or daughter of the Buddha, and now I must live up to my birth, and by my action must place no stain upon that spotless family. Just as a blind man may find by chance a priceless jewel in a heap of refuse, so somehow this bodhicitta has arisen even in me. It is the elixir of life, which destroys death, the destroyer of all. A limitless treasure to destroy all poverty. The supreme cure for the world's sickness. It is a tree of rest for the wearied world, wandering on the road of being. It is a bridge for all travellers, passing over the waters of suffering. It is the heart's waxing moon, cooling the heat of passion. It is a great sun, dispelling the darkness of the world's ignorance. It is fresh butter, churned from the milk of the true Dharma, for the caravan of famished beings, blundering on the road of existence. It is a banquet of joy, which refreshes completely all who hunger for happiness. Today I invite the world to Buddhahood, to all the happiness of the Dharma. May God's Titans and all rejoice. By the merit gained from these deeds, may all beings adorn the Bodhisattva's path, and may all those tortured in body or spirit gain by my merits oceans of happiness and joy. By the merit gained from what we have done, may all beings adorn the Bodhisattva's path, and may, as long as they remain in samsara, may they never lose their gladness. May they gain forever the bliss of the Bodhisattva. And may all the beings in the hells throughout the worldly realms taste the joys of the paradise Sukhavati. May those who suffer from cold find warmth, and those tormented by heat be cooled by the oceans of rain falling from great Bodhisattva clouds. May all the regions of hell become delightful, with lakes filled with fragrant lotuses, resonant with the haunting cries of cranes, geese and swans. May the torturing heaps of fiery coals become a mound of jewels, and the ground of molten iron become a crystal floor, polished and gleaming. May the clashing mountains which crush become temples filled with Buddhas. May the rains of blazing coals and brimstone become from now on a rain of blossom. May the hell of warfare and strife become a playful battle with flowers. By the power of my merits, may those caught in the fiery torrent of acid, flesh eaten from their yellowed bones, obtain celestial bodies of light, and dwell by the divine waters, quiet and refreshing, with the beautiful daughters of heaven. May those suffering in the torment of hell look up and see the minions of death tremble, the dreadful buzzards and vultures of hell trembling as they see the gloom dispersed, crying out, from whom does this moonlight flood, driving away darkness, bringing happiness and joy to all. See, it is blazing Vajrapani, flaming through the firmament, conquering all evil, and the tortured beings released go forth joyfully to embrace him. And let a lotus rain of perfumed water extinguish the lava fires of hell, so that the tormented cry out, their sufferings quieted. Whose work is this? Then shall Padmapani appear. Let them cry out with happiness. Come, come quickly, let all fear depart. Manjigosha is in the sky above us, the tender Bodhisattva, who calms calamity at a single gesture, who rains down bliss. He has come to set us free. See him in a celestial palace, resounding with the paeans of 1,000 goddesses, while his feet are worshipped with the crowns of 100 gods. A rain of flowers falls upon him, and his eyes are moist with compassion. The beings in hell shout out with joy at sight of this glorious vision. May all animals be free from the fear of being eaten by one another. May the hungry ghosts be as happy as men living in prosperity and culture. May the torment of their hunger be finally assuaged by the stream of nectar falling from the hand of Avalokitesvara, and bathing in it may their passion be cooled. May the blind behold forms, and the deaf hear, the afflicted be consoled, and the weary made content and at peace. May the sick be made whole again, those in bondage be freed. May the weak become strong, and all beings act lovingly towards one another. May the gods protect the helpless, the young and the old, the sleeping, the heedless and the insane, from all disease and distress, and may they send the rain in due season. May harvest be abundant. May kings be righteous, and medicines be potent. May no creature ever suffer, be sick or wretched, despised or forsaken, and may none act evilly. By my merits, may all beings everywhere, without exception, always act skillfully, and never be separated from the bodhicitta, be surrounded by Buddhas, and free from the works of Mara. May the spiritual communities prosper, be filled with recitation and worship. May the Sangha be always in harmony, and achieve all its aims. May Dharmacharis attain to wisdom, be eager for training. May they dwell in dhyana, with minds free from distraction. May the wise be honoured and supported. May they preserve the lineage of teachings, and may their fame pervade the world. As long as the existence of space, and as long as the existence of time, that long may my life be devoted to the world's sorrows, only medicine for this suffering world. May the teaching of the Buddha, with all honour and glory, endure till the end of time.